There's Caroline, and then we have Jade and Mary here also helping us navigate everything.
I'm trying to see everybody's names.
Well, we had a little discussion, of course, before as readers. And we were just wondering, you are a fangirl, that's how you described yourself. What was the inspiration? And we were all thinking Taylor Swift.
Definitely Taylor's music. I tried very hard with this one, especially because it is about two pop stars, not to have any real pop stars in my head for Eden or Anna, because I didn't want to make it weird in any way. But hugely influenced by Taylor's music, definitely. I'm actually seeing her tomorrow night.
Jade wants to know, was it hard to write the song lyrics? Did you like it, and would you write an entire song?
I probably would not write an entire song. I am not, the song lyrics are hard because not only am I not a musical person at all myself, but I think a lot of song lyrics, when you look at them written down, don't sound that exciting necessarily than when you hear them in a song, So looking at them written, I feel like is maybe even harder. Maybe not. I don't know, because I've never written an actual song. But yeah, that part was hard.
So you didn't hear something in your head while you were...
Not really. No.
Writing them.
I wish I could hear that in my head while I'm writing them, but I am not musical.
Might have needed a different career then.
Yeah.
Jamie, do you have questions?
Yeah, so I'm going to start with the one that I already just ended with, was naming the cat Villanelle.
Mm-hmm.
That got me pretty excited, made me giggle. If you want to talk a little bit about that.
So Jude actually named the cat. Is Jude here? I think I saw them on them on the list. Yeah, so what I did.
Yeah. Hi.
I think Jude is not on my main screen, maybe the secondary screen. Hey, so in my Facebook reader group, I often let readers name the pets in my books. It's just become a thing, and it's really fun. I really enjoy it, and I often come up with names that I wouldn't have thought of otherwise, just by getting a whole bunch of people to chime in. So I had asked for help naming Anna's cat, and Jude suggested Villanelle, which was, I think it was still during the final season, because I didn't know yet how that was going to end. And then after I wrote the book, I was like, oh, that's kind of a bummer actually, but but Villanelle is kind of still alive and well in my head, so whatever. Villanelle the cat is definitely still wreaking havoc. But yeah, I thought that was actually a perfect cat name, because she can be kind of cute looking, but secretly vindictive.
So did you have the name first, or the character of the cat, because it's uncanny?
I think I had started writing the book, but I think I had not really gotten to a scene with the cat yet when I asked for help naming the cat. So I think by the time I wrote Villanelle, or Anna calls her Nell, I think by the time I started writing her, I already had the name, and then yeah, her personality came right out of that.
That's cool.
Oh, now I see Jude on my screen.
Yeah,
and I see Jude's cat.
Oh, sorry, Caroline.
Oh yeah, Amanda had not a question, but she wanted to tell you something. She just wanted to say how represented she felt by Eden being married to a man and coming to terms with being a lesbian later in life. And it meant so much to me that to see myself in one of your books.
Oh, that's really nice to hear.
Okay. Jamie?
I have a question from Summer. Where did the inspiration to include a motorcycle come from? Do you ride?
I don't. And that just, I don't really know exactly where that came from. It just kind of seemed like it would fit Anna. And then I definitely had I think around the time that I thought of Anna riding a motorcycle, I definitely had the scene in my head where Anna takes Eden for a ride. And I mean, a motorcycle ride is always a good time for like a, some sexual tension and, and stuff. And for Eden, the chance to put on a helmet and being, anonymous and be able to go out like that without her team tagging along. So
I love the way that during the ride, you kind of brought in the process of Eden coming into herself, right? It's like, is it my feeling of being on the bike with Anna?
yeah.
With Anna, or is the vibration of the motorcycle? What is going on that's making
It's like,
things happen?
why am I
love
feeling
that.
like this? Yeah. I did enjoy writing that part of Eden, and she kind of clung for a long time to thinking, well, I'm straight. Of course I'm straight. I've always thought I'm straight. I came out later in life as well, so I relate to those feelings a lot as well. So
I have a question from Claire Ashton. She says there were so many fabulous scenes in this book, and the ending on stage gave me goosebumps. Which was your favorite scene to write, and or your favorite when you read it back?
oh goodness, and Claire Ashton, I'll just fangirl. My favorite scene to write. I did enjoy that motorcycle scene a lot. I think possibly my favorite scene was like their first Grammy duet. I really, really enjoyed writing that. I enjoyed everything about that scene. And Anna just being like completely like bamboozled up there on the stage, with all these industry legends. I mean, I can only imagine what that would feel like, but yeah, and singing with her idol. And I mean, as a fangirl myself, that just seemed like the ultimate like fangirl fantasy to be on stage at the Grammys performing with your idol. Yeah, I think that would be my answer.
Happy, Claire?
One of our questions was, what attracts you to the celebrity romance trope?
So that one is easier to answer because that is definitely because I myself am a lifelong fangirl. I've been in fandoms since I was a teenager, and message boards and mailing lists and chatting with other fans. Oh, what's the next song going to be? And and going to lots and lots of concerts, and particularly like pop music and pop stars have always been kind of my thing. So yeah, that definitely is kind of a passion project for me.
Erica wants to know, how did you decide on Quinn Riley to narrate the audiobook? She was the perfect choice.
So with my this book is through my publisher Montlake. I actually don't have as much input on the narrators for their books, but for this one, I mean, I had sent them a wish list of a couple narrators that I would like to have narrate, and none of those worked out. I actually wasn't familiar with Quinn's work, and they sent me 2 samples. They had 2 narrators read a sample of Stars Collide. It was actually that big fight scene at the end when Camille shows up at the party. That was the scene that they had the 2 narrators read, and I heard Quinn, and I was like, yeah, that's the one. So I picked her, and then I realized, I think it was actually from looking at one of Jude's reviews, I realized that Quinn is actually also Jeremy Carlisle Parker, who had done a couple of other Sapphic books, and I was like, oh, okay. So yeah. I think she did an awesome job. I actually haven't listened to the whole thing. I can't listen to the audiobooks of my books. It's too weird for me. But
what happened? What makes it weird?
I don't know. I don't know. It's just I think even reading my books after they're published is kind of weird. Like, I feel like I kind of just don't really want to touch it again. As an author, you read your own books so many times during all the different rounds of edits. By the time you're done, you're like, I never want to see that book again, because I've agonized over every sentence for so long. I don't know what it is for me, but hearing the audio book, I can't listen to the whole thing. It just makes me feel strange. But I've heard the sample, and I've heard a lot of people have commented on how much they liked Quinn's narration, which is wonderful. Maybe the most compliments I've ever gotten on a narrator. So I think that's amazing.
She did,
and she seems like an absolutely lovely person. So would be pleased to work with her again.
Yeah, you mentioned you are a fangirl at heart. So is there anybody that right now you're fangirling over at the top of your list?
Oh, if we're talking pop stars, well, I am a long time fangirl of Gloria Estefan and Madonna. I have been in their fandom message boards, all that, for like, I don't know, 20, 30 years. Definitely a big Swiftie right now. Yeah, that's probably.
If this book would be a movie, who would play Eden and Anna?
Oh my God, I don't know. They're both kind of an amalgamation of people in my head. I really don't know. I don't have an actress in my head that would make a good Eden. I mean, I know an actor can like dye their hair or put on a wig, because I can't think of anyone with like dark hair and blue eyes that could be a good Eden. Anna was a little bit Florence Pugh for me in my head, but I don't know how she does with an American accent, so I'm not sure.
Jamie, you have a question? Because I have a lot.
Go. I don't have any in the chat. Go ahead.
Okay. You were talking about naming Villanelle and Jude helping with that. Is that Lisa wants to know, is that kind of like letting fans pick or suggest Anna's outfits?
I have not had fans suggest outfits, but that could be a fun thing to do also.
Oh, but in the story, Anna changes her outfits for the duet.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Like yeah.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah. So maybe that was the inspiration.
Maybe it was, and I didn't even know I was doing it.
Yeah. Jade says the mob scenes were very intense. Would you ever want to be that famous? And what was it like writing those scenes?
So I have been on the fandom side of a few of those situations, watching celebrities get like really crushed, and I don't know, I'm the fan that hangs back in the back. It's so weird to me how fans, like, we love this person, but then like people just lose all sense of like, self-control and barriers and stuff when they get face to face with celebrities, and they do behave inappropriately. Would I want to be that famous? No. Being an author is the only sort of thing I would ever want to be, because no one really knows who we are. I've never been recognized or anything. It doesn't affect my day-to-day life at all. So I would never want to be recognizable in any way. That would stress me out big time.
So how could you transform yourself into that mob scene then?
To write it?
Yeah.
I was just kind of, thinking of experiences that I had witnessed, and just kind of putting myself in Eden's shoes and how that would feel to be mobbed by people like that.
Yeah. I think when we talked in a book club, I think that nobody wants to be that famous except for Chris. Right, Chris? Well, you've written a lot of books, of course, but not all Sapphic books.
Correct.
What's your favorite genre to write?
Definitely Sapphic romance.
And why?
Well, I think Why? I don't know. That's just these are the books that I'm passionate about as a reader as well. I think that back when I was writing male female romance, that was before I came out. That was before I knew I was bisexual. And once I had my kind of, sexual awakening, and I discovered Sapphic books. I actually discovered Sapphic fiction first in fan fiction, and then the books, and I was just obsessed. I'm still obsessed. I can't read enough of them, and it was really scary to write my first Sapphic romance because, coming from writing male female romance, I'm like, can I do this? Am I even the right person to try to write one? I don't know. It's very intimidating, but as soon as I wrote, Lost in Paradise was the first Sapphic romance that I wrote, and it was the fastest book I'd ever written. I wrote the first draft in a week because it was like this light bulb moment for me as I started writing. I'm like, yep, this is what I'm meant to be writing. I think. I mean, I can't say that I'll never in the future write something else, but right now this is definitely completely where my passion is.
You've mentioned that this.
In the chat, she goes, all capitals, "Oh, weak!" Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Yes. She's fangirling right back at you, I think.
Rachel, you mentioned that it was this book so far was your spiciest ever. Can you talk a little bit about how that happened, how that felt, and what your process was?
Yeah, I don't really, when I start writing, I don't know how spicy they're going to be. I don't certainly start a book thinking, well, this one's going to be sexier than that one. But I think it just kind of comes from the characters. Some books just naturally, as I'm writing, just don't come out. I think I remember seeing in a few reviews, I don't read my reviews, but when I get people send them to me, I saw a couple of people saying, well, this book was, less sexy than her other books. And I was like, yeah, I guess it was, but I didn't do that on purpose. As for why this one is spicier, I don't know. I think it was part of like Eden's coming out process, and like, her first time with a woman. It was just like a big moment for her, and that scene ended up being one of the spicier that I've written, I think. So it just came naturally as I was writing it, I would say.
It definitely flowed well and moved the story forward. It was really in alignment with what you were putting out there in that book.
Thank you. I have since written, I think, a sexier scene, but that book hasn't come out yet.
Erica also said it was so beautifully written, so intimate and so romantic.
Oh, thank you.
That's true. Any more, Jamie? Your chat?
There's one from Summer. What's more emotional to write, breakup or makeup scenes?
They are both very emotional. It might depend on the book, which I think probably like the breakup scenes are probably the ones that get me more. Yeah. Those are the ones where sometimes I tear up while I'm writing it, or just when they're going through that, like even if it's not part of the breakup, but whatever is like that moment of despair at the end where, something awful has happened and they feel like they've kind of lost everything. That's probably the most emotional.
We've seen on social media that you've moved to Vermont a while back. Was Eden's getaway haven like inspired by your own house?
So when I wrote that scene, we hadn't moved yet. We did not even have our house here yet. I have been to Vermont a couple of times. My sister lives here. So I had been here a few times to visit. And I knew at the time that I was drafting the book that we were trying to move here, but it took forever to find an affordable house. So yeah, I was like, Vermont was very much in my mind because we were in the process of trying to buy a house here when I wrote the book, but we hadn't bought it yet. I wish I could have Eden's house because it sounds amazing, but
I think we all
were talking in the chat before you came about what books you might be writing next, and if there was going to be another in the series. And someone had mentioned that she saw a post about you writing something about introducing another security character and possibly
Yes.
Palin. I was wondering if that's in the
Yeah.
work.
So that book actually got announced like before Stars Collide release. So I couldn't really say at the time, like, oh, and by the way, this is a Stars Collide spinoff, because you guys didn't know the book yet. So yes, I do have a Stars Collide spinoff that I am editing now. It's called Cover Story, and it is a bodyguard romance, and it is with Taylor, Eden's bodyguard. It's going to be a bodyguard with a side of fake dating, because the other heroine, Natalie, is an A-list actress who has been stalked in the past, and her stalker is getting out of prison. And she faced a lot of really terrible headlines when that happened to her in the past, and she does not want to bring that attention on herself again. She's up for some awards right now, and she really does not want to get the press looking back at her stalker and reliving that for her. So she wants extra security, but she doesn't want to draw attention to the extra security. So she hires a female bodyguard to pose as her girlfriend when they're out in public and on the red carpet, so that she can have someone at her side without drawing attention to it. So that is Cover Story.
Ooh, I love it.
Yeah.
Fake dating, that's one of my favorite tropes.
Yeah. Fake
Clara.
dating is super fun. And
Clara.
fake dating with the bodyguard, I'm like, oh, it's fun. It's fun.
Well, Clara is saying, oh no, Taylor is leaving Eden. Sad for Eden, happy for her future actress girlfriend.
Yes, it was. I had to write in a little an injury that had taken Taylor off of Eden's detail to leave her available for the new book. But yep, she had to leave Eden to get her own story, because
And when can we read it?
next spring.
Next spring?
Spring, I know. The ones that come through my publisher take more time. they have to go through a longer pipeline before publication, because it is written now, and I'll be handing it in to my editor next month. And then it takes longer with a publisher.
Okay, so you can DM me the number from the publisher and I'll make sure. Lisa says in the chat, is the book on a parallel timeline with Midnight in Manhattan, or was she watching a rerun?
Oh, did you catch my little Easter egg there? Because no one yet has told me that they caught that. A lot of people caught that Anna recommended Bree's book from Read Between the Lines, but no, there's a legal thing with, because some of my books are with a publisher and some of them are self-published. There's a legal thing that I can't mention directly an indie book in one of the books with my publisher, or vice versa. It has something to do with like movie rights. If something was ever sold as a movie, not that that's likely to ever happen, but I mean, so I put it in there very vaguely. Oh, Eden's watching this, bar renovation on TV, and with the blonde bartender that reminded her of Anna. So no, I think it is in my head. It's not happening at the same time. That was like a rerun, because I do have them kind of loosely set in the year that the book releases in my head, like to match up days of the week and holidays and stuff.
Jamie?
Will we see any of Eden and Anna in the upcoming Cover Story book?
There will be a cameo. Yes.
Nice. Lisa says, I love Easter eggs, so yay.
Yay. I love Easter eggs too, as a reader and as an author.
Yeah.
I love it when I'm reading a book and I see like references to somebody else, another book by that author. I'm like, oh.
Menestrella Laura says, will some of your books be available in other languages?
There are a few. I wish I had more. On my indie books, that is much harder to do, because you have to like go through this whole process of like hiring a translator on your own, and it's hard if you don't speak that language to know if you're getting a good translator. I do know some authors who've done indie translations. I have not had time to really look into that. My publisher has sold a few rights for me, primarily in German. I think German seems to be like a bigger market for romance and Sapphic romance, perhaps. So Read Between the Lines is available in German. Stars Collide is going to be released in German. And then my my sort of indie, but with Serena Bowen's World of True North, my book Hideaway, is going to be in Italian, but like next year, I think. Like that one, like they signed the deal like last year, and it's going to come out in like 24. I don't know how that happens. Well, part of it is that they're translating that whole series. I think there's going to be like one every other month, and I'm like number 6. So that will be in Italian. I don't know how all of those decisions get made, but
Okay. Laura's happy with the Italian, I think.
Yeah.
Yay!
You'll have to wait like a whole nother year, I think, but it is coming in the pipeline.
It's good things to look forward to.
Yes.
When you are writing a book, what's your process? Are you a plotter or a pantser?
I am more of a plotter than a pantser, but I'm not a super detailed plotter. Like I definitely like to know all the major plot points. I like to know for each heroine their goals and motivation and conflict, their strengths and weaknesses, that kind of thing, and like what their arc is going to be. And I have a plotting group that I sometimes have Zoom sessions with, and we kind of help each other flesh out our plots. And then my outline is basically like several pages of just like a huge long list of bullet points. Just I might have like a scene idea that I know is going to be there, something I know that needs to happen, just little bits of backstory that I know I need to mention. But it's not, I know there are authors who break out, they have it outlined down to like the chapter or even down to each scene, and they know exactly how it's going to fall. I don't know that much detail ahead of time. And sometimes it changes as I'm writing. I'll have to stop and replot if something doesn't work out.
Okay. Want to be sensitive with the time because officially we're done.
Okay.
Do you have any more questions, Jamie?
Just from our list, I don't have any in the chat. Oh, Melina's joining right now. One of the things that was interesting was, in which of your book worlds would you love to live yourself?
Oh, I would love to live in any of them because I love all my characters, but I would probably want to live in the Midnight in Manhattan world. I want to know those ladies, and I want to go to Dragonfly and sit at the bar and have some of those drinks that I've written about. And yeah, that's the world I would most want to be in.
Before the
And
concert
are
of
any of
Eden
the
and Anna.
characters-
What was that?
I said before the concert of Eden and Anna, you can have drinks at the Dragonfly,
Yeah.
then go.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then any of those characters you identify with more than others, or?
I mean, the obvious answer is Jane from Read Between the Lines, not only because she's a Sapphic romance author, but she's also a kind of shy introvert. And like I mentioned before, I identify with Eden as someone who comes out later in life. I think those are the first two that come to mind for people that I identify with.
I do have one question in the chat from
Okay.
Lou. When can we expect the next Ms. Wright book? I love those stories so much.
So unfortunately, there aren't going to be any more books in that series, but I do try to work them in as cameos in my other books whenever I can. And I do have an idea in my head for a bonus scene where Leah, Grace, Rosie, and Jane would attend a concert of Eden and Anna. And I would love to write that when I have time, which who knows when that'll be, but that's in my head to write as a freebie. So
That's cool. Can we do one more question, Rachel?
Yep.
Okay. Cassandra wants to know, since you seem to be reading Sapphic romance, is there any book you could recommend to us?
Oh my goodness, so many.
What's your absolute favorite?
My absolute favorite is probably Hotel Queens by Lee Winter. I think probably a lot of people have already read that one. I could gush about Lee Winter for a good while. Chef's Kiss by Stephanie Shea, No Strings by Lucy Bexley, Destination U by J.J. Arias. Those are some that I've enjoyed pretty recently. I also have, if you follow me on BookBub, I recommend books a lot. Or friend me on Goodreads, because I like to shout about books that I enjoy. So you'll see that there too.
That's a good tip. Jamie?
I've just got one more quick, just a comment from Summer. I love the graphic cover for Stars Collide. It's very much.
Oh, thank you. That's one of my favorites too. That's actually the first time that I had a book cover like custom drawn. Like the Ms. Wright covers, those are like clip art people. They weren't like custom drawn for my books, but Eden and Anna were drawn to be Eden and Anna. And in their first iteration, they actually matched their outfits from the book. But I think someone in the art department thought that Anna, she originally had like this rainbow top, and I was like, this is so cool, so Anna. But they thought it was a little bit chaotic with the color on the cover, so she ended up in that pink dress. But Eden is wearing her silver dress from the Grammys. So
okay, absolute last question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Melina, if you could write in any other genre, which one would it be?
I would probably write like a suspense. Oh, can you hear my cat? I heard him in my earphone, in my earbuds. He's like circling me, like asking to get up in my lap. Yeah, I would do like a Sapphic suspense probably.
So
I love reading them. I'm not sure that I have what it takes to write them, but maybe someday I'll try.
That will be 2028?
Yeah, about then. Yeah.
Probably. Okay.
So here for that. I love the Sapphic suspense.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you all. Thank you, Rachel, for your time.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much for having me. This was so fun, and I'm just so thrilled that you're all here to talk about Stars Collide. That's like really cool.
Thank you so much. And I wish you a very happy day, night, morning, wherever you are in the world. Bye.
Bye. Bye.